According to a study in the Journal of Gerontology, taking the incorrect vitamins as you age can raise your risk of stroke, kidney failure, or cognitive impairment by as much as 58%. Even more concerning is the fact that many elderly people take these vitamins daily without realizing the potential risks. Isn't it frightening? Certain vitamins subtly undermine the aging body, while others are vital for a longer lifespan, slower aging, and better memory. Surprisingly, the most common offenders are frequently the same vitamins that are highly advertised and pushed in pharmacies. If you stick with us through to the finish, we'll not only show you what's safe or risky, but also the real cost that many seniors are bearing because of decisions they were assured were healthy. Because sometimes what you think is helping you poses a greater risk than what you actually take. This article outlines 3 vitamins that, if you're over 65, you should take every day and 3 that you should absolutely avoid, since the consequences could be detrimental to your kidneys, eyesight, or even your mental clarity. In order to ensure that you never miss another personalized health tip, I advise you to ring the bell and subscribe if you haven't already. Type 1 in the comments if you like this video. If not, input 0 to tell me how I can improve your material. People over 65 should stay away from 3 types of vitamins. 1. Large amounts of vitamin A. Your bone's silent saboteur. One of the harshest realities of aging is that the body starts to subtly turn on us. Once robust and dependable, our bones deteriorate and become more porous. In our youth, a minor fall that could have resulted in a bruise can today inflict a hip fracture that permanently alters our lives. The majority of seniors are unaware that one of the biggest risks to their bone health could be found in their medical cabinet, looking like a beneficial high-dose vitamin A supplement. Vitamin A is found in many multivitamins and over-the-counter treatments, particularly those that support the immune system and age the eyes. It is frequently promoted as a potent antioxidant, or a supplement for vision support. Here's the issue, though. Clinical investigations have demonstrated that excessive consumption of preformed vitamin A, the synthetic form commonly referred to as retinol, retinol acetate, or retinol palmitate, accelerates bone loss and dramatically raises the risk of fractures, especially in women over 65. Getting vitamin A from foods like squash or carrots is not dangerous. Beta-carotene, which is present in those, is only transformed by the body into vitamin A when necessary. Supplements and fortified foods that provide preformed vitamin A in amounts that can quickly surpass the acceptable maximum intake level of 3,000 IU per day are the true cause for concern. Overconsumption over time causes more than merely brittle bones. In addition, it may cause migraines, dizziness, dry skin, liver strain, and, in extreme situations, brain damage. However, a lot of elderly people keep taking these supplements because they think that more is better. This idea is particularly harmful since it feeds into a widespread concern: the fear of losing one's vision. To a certain extent, vitamin A is essential for eye health as we are informed. The same things we try to maintain in older life, mobility and independence, may be compromised by taking megadoses in the hopes of safeguarding vision. Furthermore, recovering from a fracture is rarely easy. A seemingly innocuous vitamin can lead to a host of negative consequences, including hospital admissions, decreased mobility, and an increasing dependence on others. The best line of action: steer clear of supplements that contain large amounts of preformed vitamin A unless your doctor has prescribed them. Prioritize foods high in beta-carotene instead, and consult a reliable healthcare professional before including any additional vitamins into your regimen. However, there are other wolves in sheep's clothing besides vitamin A. Another well-known vitamin, which is present in many multivitamins and is marketed as having heart-healthy properties, may subtly raise your risk of stroke and cancer when it is synthesized. Let's examine this next concealed threat in more detail. Please let me know in the first remark below if you're still watching and finding these insights useful. Let's now discuss point number 2. 2. Vitamin E, synthetic, the false protector of your heart. Taking a vitamin that is marketed as being good for your heart almost seems cozy. Heart disease is more than simply a danger for elderly people. It frequently happens. Therefore, it seems like a straightforward act of hope when we encounter a soft gel of vitamin E that promises protection. 1 pill per day to stave off danger. But what if the same act, performed in good faith, is subtly endangering your life and your heart? Your body is not designed to metabolize synthetic vitamin E, which is often contained in over-the-counter multivitamins and sold as DL-alpha tocopherol. Although it is a synthetic version intended to resemble the natural form, it functions differently within the body. The science is also depressing. High dosages of synthetic vitamin E were associated with a 17% increase in the incidence of prostate cancer, according to a number of extensive studies, including the National Cancer Institute's SELECT study. Anyone would hesitate at that alone. However, it doesn't end there. An increased risk of hemorrhagic stroke, a particularly fatal type of stroke brought on by bleeding in the brain, has also been linked to excessive synthetic vitamin E. It makes seniors who are already taking blood thinners even more vulnerable by interfering with the function of vitamin K, which is crucial for blood clotting. Furthermore, synthetic vitamin E can replace and prevent the absorption of other forms of vitamin E, including gamma tocopherol, which has essential antioxidant functions of its own, especially in the colon and lungs. Why is this important? Because in a clinical experiment, we're not just discussing numbers. We're discussing a small daily choice that could make the hazards we're attempting to avoid worse. The majority of seniors take vitamins to feel more proactive and secure. However, that security turns into a perilous delusion when it is based on phony shortcuts and false labels. Natural vitamin E, also known as D-alpha tocopherol, is far more readily absorbed by the body and should only be taken under a doctor's supervision, particularly if you already consume a diet high in leafy greens, almonds, and healthy fats. Keep in mind that more is not always better. More could be dangerous. However, if synthetic vitamin E is a false protector, there is another vitamin that is frequently misused and praised that might be causing inside harm. Every cold treatment, carbonated tablet, and immune-boosting product on the market has it. Furthermore, excessive dosages may actually work against your kidneys. Next, let's discuss it. 3. Large amounts of vitamin C. The danger concealed by the bubbly glow. Vitamin C has a feeling of being almost happy. It promises immune support, fizzes in your glass, and comes with the unstated guarantee that it's safe, in fact, necessary. It feels like a lifeline for elderly people who are afraid of becoming sick, particularly during the cold and flu season. Who wouldn't want a robust immune system at 70, 80, or 90 years old after all? However, like many things in life, too much of a good thing may subtly turn into a problem, and few people are aware that vitamin C in excess is one of those silent killers. When vitamin C is used in excess, usually more than 1,000 milligrams daily, it changes the body rather than simply passing through it without causing any harm. Oxalate, a substance that can crystallize and ultimately result in painful kidney stones, is produced when large doses of vitamin C are digested in older persons, especially those with diminished renal function, a frequent problem with aging. The load on an aging kidney system, which is already less effective at filtering waste, is the true hazard, even though the discomfort is already severe. The fact that these risks are frequently concealed behind a marketing curtain is even more worrisome. As a daily wellness supplement, effervescent pills containing 1,000 nilthionidinium as vitamin C are marketed. Some elderly people who take them twice a day or more out of fear of getting sick may be putting themselves at risk for kidney problems, digestive issues, and nutritional imbalances. Bloating, cramping in the stomach, and diarrhea are just the start. Furthermore, long-term overconsumption of isolated synthetic vitamin C may even hinder the absorption of copper, a mineral that is vital for aging bones and brains. The fact that vitamin C is unquestionably necessary makes this more challenging. It promotes immunity, the production of collagen, and even mood management. However, the source and moderation are where the truth lies. It is usually sufficient and far safer for seniors to consume 200 to 500 milliliters per day, especially when obtained organically from foods like citrus, bell peppers, strawberries, and broccoli. Together with bioflavonoids and enzymes that promote appropriate absorption and function, these offer vitamin C in a balanced form. Therefore, consider whether you are assisting or overburdening your body the next time you grab for that orange, bubbly tablet. Furthermore, certain vitamins have the opposite effect from vitamin C, which may be dangerous in excess. They are simply superior than synthetic counterparts in terms of healing, protecting, and empowering aging bodies. Now is the moment to change our attention from things to avoid to the 3 essential vitamins that every senior should take on a regular basis. Please let me know in the first remark below if you're still watching and finding these insights useful. Let's go on to point number 4 now. People over 65 need to take supplements of 3 different kinds of vitamins daily. First, the essential spark that aging bodies subtly lose, vitamin B12. Many changes come with aging, some of which are obvious and others of which are not. The silent reduction in our body's ability to absorb vitamin B12, a substance so vital that even a modest deficit can start to chip away at our independence, one forgotten name or tired morning at a time, is one of the most subtle yet profound changes that occurs after the age of 60. Although B12 is frequently referred to as the energy vitamin, it has many other uses. It is essential for brain function, red blood cell synthesis, nerve health, and even emotional stability. These are lifelines for elders, not extravagances. Nevertheless, a lot of elderly people are unaware of their deficiencies. Biology is the real problem, not necessarily nutrition. It becomes more difficult to get B12 from food as we age because our stomachs create less hydrochloric acid. This implies that your body can still be lacking this essential nutrient, even if you eat a healthy diet. The symptoms of a B12 deficiency are sometimes written off as being typical of aging, memory loss, exhaustion, tingling in the hands or feet, or emotional flatness. However, it's sometimes forgotten that these symptoms can gradually get worse and finally cause anemia, irreparable nerve damage, or even signs that resemble dementia. Furthermore, B12 doesn't manifest itself significantly until the harm has been done, in contrast to many other deficiencies. For this reason, supplementing is not only beneficial but also required for elders. However, form is important. Because of the very absorption problems that aging bodies have, oral pills frequently don't work properly. Sublingual lozenges or sprays are the most efficient since they enter the bloodstream without passing through the digestive tract. The ideal kind? Your body immediately recognizes methylcobalamin, the naturally occurring bioavailable form of vitamin B12. Just 500 to 1,000 micrograms per day will often improve cognitive function, lessen weariness, and restore clarity. After only a few weeks, several seniors report life-altering advantages, including improved mood stability, increased focus, and even fewer falls as a result of nerve function being restored. The body is finally getting what it has been lacking for years. It is not magic. However, B12 is just one component of the equation. The following vitamin gives us the structural strength we need to remain upright and active if vitamin B12 stimulates the brain and nerves. It supports our bones, balance, and even our battle against depression in addition to immunity. Now, let's discuss a vitamin. The majority of seniors are severely depressed, but they hardly ever consider it until it's too late. Please let me know in the first remark below if you're still watching and finding these insights useful. Let's now discuss point number 2. 2. Strength, stability, and spirit, are all silently protected by vitamin D3. Aging has a very sobering quality, not only in the obvious ways but also in the subtle losses. The equilibrium we used to take for granted, the assurance in every action, the immune system's tenacity, and the cheerful disposition that used to come so easily. Although vitamin D3 is one of the most frequently deficient nutrients in persons over 65, few people are aware that it plays a part in all of these things. Although it is frequently marketed as a bone vitamin, vitamin D3 is more than that. It is actually a master key that improves muscle function, strengthens the immune system, unlocks calcium absorption, and even supports mental wellness. Here's the catch, though. The ability of our skin to produce D3 from sunshine decreases significantly with age. It now takes hours to get the same benefits as 20 minutes of light at 30 did, and even then, it might not be enough, particularly for people who spend more time indoors or in northern latitudes. The effects of a D3 shortage frequently appear gradually and without warning. Increased chance of fractures, osteoporosis, and falls, diseases that can alter a senior's life completely in addition to causing pain. An injured ankle at 30 is not the same as a fractured hip at 70. It might include being admitted to the hospital, losing one's independence, or worse. Beyond bones, however, vitamin D3 has a significant impact on immunity, which is particularly important in a society where viruses and respiratory diseases are actual hazards to the elderly. And there's still more. Low D3 levels are increasingly being linked in research to weariness, depression, and cognitive deterioration. Symptoms that are sometimes dismissed as a natural aspect of aging, but may actually be curable. Taking D3 supplements is a way to restore strength, stability, and emotional vibrancy, in addition to preventing problems. To enhance absorption, experts advise taking 1,000 to 2,000 IU per day, ideally with meals that contain healthy fats. Regaining confidence in your steps, clarity in your thoughts, and vitality in your days can be achieved by adopting this tiny habit, which has the potential to provide huge advantages. Another vitamin, however, functions as a traffic director for calcium, directing it away from your arteries and into your bones where it belongs, while vitamin D3 helps to restore equilibrium and power to the body. Even the best bone support can work against you if you don't get this additional vitamin. Now let's explore the vital function of vitamin K2, which is frequently disregarded. 3. The unsung hero that prevents calcium from working against you is vitamin K2. As we get older, we become more conscious of our bones, of every creak, every delicate foot, every cautious stair moment. To safeguard them, we are advised to consume calcium. Commercials promote it, doctors prescribe it, and many elderly people obediently follow the instructions. However, most people are unaware that calcium can subtly turn into a risk rather than a protective factor if it doesn't have the proper companion, vitamin K2. Vitamin K1, which aids in blood coagulation, is more well known than vitamin K2. K2 has an additional, frequently disregarded function. It transfers calcium from soft tissues like the kidneys, joints, and arteries to the bones and teeth. It guides this potent mineral to the locations where it heals and away from those where it can cause silent harm, much like a sage traffic cop. Because calcium can lead to kidney stones, artery calcification, and even joint stiffness when it ends up in the wrong areas, all of which worsen with age. When we take calcium or vitamin D supplements, which raise blood calcium levels, the body's demand for K2 becomes even more urgent. That calcium might not travel where you wanted it to if K2 isn't there to direct it. According to new research, K2 insufficiency may actually be a hidden cause of a number of cardiovascular issues in older persons, particularly those who are already taking medication for diabetes, high blood pressure, or cholesterol. However, K2 has a subtly impressive quality. It fortifies the skeleton in addition to protecting the arteries. Regular K2 consumption has been associated with increased bone mineral density and a lower incidence of fractures, especially hip fractures, which are among the most severe injuries for adults over 65, according to studies. However, conventional Western diets, which lack fermented foods like aged cheeses and natto, where K2 naturally flourishes, still mostly lack this potent mineral. A K2 supplement in the MK7 form, which is renowned for its exceptional absorption and long-lasting effects in the body, is the most sensible and efficient option for the majority of seniors. Simply taking 90 to 180 micrograms per day can have a significant impact on how your body processes calcium, silently protecting your kidneys, heart, and bones from the inside out. Furthermore, although vitamins like K2 operate in the background, they have a significant impact. Making the correct dietary choices as we age is not only about prolonging our lives, but also about preserving their quality, strength, mental clarity, and ability to live with self-assurance. Because ultimately, it's about the life in your years, not just the years in your life, the cost you incur. Ultimately, the vitamins we decide to consume, or not, are more than just pills. Little choices we make every day subtly influence how well we live as we get older. They affect our ability to think clearly, walk steadily, sleep well, and wake up in the morning feeling energized or exhausted. In reality, most of us are unaware of the effects until they appear subtly, gradually, and occasionally irrevocably. Not because they were irresponsible, but because they believed labels, advertisements, and out-of-date advice. I have witnessed far too many well-meaning older folks take supplements that ended up doing more harm than good. The silent cost is that faith, which is frequently misplaced. That's the true cost you incur. Not only cash, but self-reliance, clarity, and self-assurance. I've learned from living for almost a century that there are no magic bullets when it comes to health and old age. It's about continually making tiny, sensible judgments. It involves selecting nutrients that complement rather than contradict your body. It involves being your own best advocate, asking questions, and seeing past labels, especially when society pressures you to find a quick fix. We become increasingly aware as we age that our bodies no longer recover as quickly. Every decision has an impact. Some help, some hurt. Perhaps there is a more general lesson to be learned from all of this. We must continue to be inquisitive about ourselves. The end of discovery does not come with aging. It marks the start of a more deliberate journey. Additionally, every choice we make regarding our health is an opportunity to respect the years we have remaining and the life we have already lived. Asking difficult questions such, "Is this really helping me?" is part of that. Or am I only taking this because I was advised to? Or is it because it's healthy for me? Your health is not a product of a bottle, a brand, or even a commercial. You own it, and that reality becomes even more sacred as we age. Here is my final reflection. Don't let silence cost you anything. Raise your voice, study up, make adjustments, find out why. Take what feeds your bones, heart, and mind, and let go of what makes you feel heavy. Your current years are equally as valuable as those that came before them. Don't let a label dictate choices that your body must make. And I encourage you to act, even in the slightest way, if this message has sparked a memory, a worry, or just a second thought. Sometimes, all it takes is one simple change to restore the vitality, clarity, and tranquility we believed had been lost to time. That is both the real reward and the real sacrifice. The purpose of these lectures is to encourage you to live life to the fullest and most genuine. I would be delighted to hear from you now. Think for a moment, then share one item you've learned that you want to use in your own life. On this path of accepting these realities, let's help one another. If this video was enjoyable to you, please leave a remark with 1. If not, feel free to use 0 in your comment. Your opinions are very important to us. For more videos like these, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like, and share our videos. I appreciate you viewing, and I hope you enjoy living your life as you see fit.